COVID-19 spike, 58 active cases on campus right now.
If you want the honest answer, I do think our students let their guard down at the very end.
A powerful accusation from St. Bonaventure's president. That's not all. This morning, the men's basketball team among dozens confined to quarantine on campus. Plus, mass student exodus, more than 400 dorm room keys returned to resident life, students fleeing home before Thanksgiving, days before break was set to begin. And
Western New York never lived the full pain of a COVID's wrath.
Cases surge in Western New York, our region considered a COVID-19 hotbed. SBU-TV starts right now.
Breaking this morning, time to go. St. Bonaventure University is ending all in-person instruction and will go fully remote on Monday. The drastic spike in on-campus cases forced the move to online just days before the Thanksgiving holiday. Students remaining on campus will be required to turn in their dorm keys by noon on Sunday.
Students who tested positive for COVID-19 are required to complete the mandatory isolation period on campus or in their off-campus residence. As of this morning, the spring semester will begin as scheduled on January 25th, with students returning to campus 2 weeks prior for a mandatory quarantine period. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Michaela Hyman.
And I'm Tommy Valentine. The surge in COVID-19 cases seems to be linked back to university athletics. Thursday, the men's and women's basketball team became the latest victims. All basketball operations currently on pause. And the wait for Bonnie's men's basketball will have to continue. The team is pausing all activities following a positive COVID-19 test within the program. The St. Bonaventure Athletic Department released this statement, citing that the positive result was part of the program's regular surveillance test and acknowledging that head coach Mark Schmidt's team would no longer be participating in the Bubbleville event to open up the regular season next week. The team is now quarantining on campus, and the athletic department denied SBU-TV's request for a statement. Men's basketball is just the latest athletic program at Bonas impacted by the virus. Members of the men's and women's lacrosse teams, as well as men's rugby, women's soccer, and men's golf, have either been required to quarantine on campus or sent home because of direct contact with a COVID-positive case. Any student who had been in quarantine prior to November 10th is to complete their quarantine on campus. Since then, those who are asymptomatic have gone home to complete their quarantine. University President Dr. Dennis DePiro recognizes a surge in contact tracing with Bonaventure student athletes to be a factor of the overall uptick in positive cases on campus.
I will say that a good number of the students who have been positive had an athlete as a roommate, or they were athletes, or they came in contact with an athlete.
The only programs to remain on campus over the winter break will be the men's and women's basketball teams, who are expected to complete most of their schedules before students return in late January. Head men's basketball coach Mark Schmidt is well aware of the strides his team has to make now to ensure there's a season to be played.
Sometimes you get unlucky. On a daily basis, we've been, stressing to the kids about wearing masks, social distancing, staying away from crowds. And I challenged them, just like I think most coaches did. It's like, if you want to play the game you love, there's certain sacrifices you're going to have to make this year.
The team will not be able to return to play for 14 days, allowing for the 2-week quarantine period recommended by the NCAA.
The county's COVID-19 spike continues. Checked just moments ago, the Cattaraugus County Health Department reports 167 active COVID-19 cases, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 685. Deaths climbed to 22. As for campus this morning, active cases spike over 50 in the past week. Currently 58 active COVID-19 cases, 148 students in quarantine, and 55 students isolated. University President Dr. Dennis DePiro responds to the spike.
If you want the honest answer, I do think our students let their guard down at the very end.
This week, COVID-19 cases have reached record highs on campus. Rumors have swirled for weeks about a potential outbreak of cases.
I think all through this, we have very strategically communicated with students, either from communications from myself or the marketing and communications office.
The university has sent emails over the semester, but people still partied.
Maybe they thought, hey, we've gone through the semester, the virus, we haven't seen it, we're safe, but unfortunately, it's very clear that that wasn't the case.
Students self-monitored each other, and the university used resources to check students, But
some of the parties and some of the things that have gone on, we've heard about after they've occurred.
despite following state and local guidelines, lecture halls like these are now empty. Why? Because 90% of classes are now online. The university prepared for an outbreak this semester within the reopening plan.
We've prepared ourselves with isolation space. We've prepared ourselves with quarantine space. We've prepared ourselves in terms of how our plan is carried out.
But the administration doesn't have final say during an outbreak.
Ultimately, the director of public health of the county calls the shots in terms of at what stage we would need to go completely remote.
The school has one goal in mind:
to make sure that students are safe here. And we want their exit from the campus to be safe as well.
With SBU-TV, I'm Zachary Murphy.
Students are leaving campus in droves as the university reports over 400 residence hall keys turned in. SBU's COVID-19 tracker reported 58 active cases as of this morning. The university says numbers are submitted to the state every day at 4 p.m. and can vary depending on when they're recorded with the Cattaraugus County Health Department. Our Rich Williams spoke to University President Dr. Dennis DePiero, who defended how the university continues to survey for the virus.
If you're symptomatic, we don't want to send you out to the world. We want you to be tested. We'll test you if you're symptomatic to make sure you don't have a problem. And if you are positive, as you can see with the students that we have put them in isolation, and we are continuing to deliver meals to them and to take care of them.
St. Bonaventure's Wellness Center is where the university tests students and tracks the rise in COVID cases. The recent surge forced students to go off campus to get tested at WellNow Care in Olean. With several students in isolation and in quarantine, we asked Dr. Dennis DePiero if the school is liable for sending home the sick.
So we are doing all that we can in terms of protecting the liability of the university.
The university spent nearly $500,000 in testing kits and personal protective equipment to keep students and faculty safe.
New this morning, Pfizer applies for emergency use authorization from the FDA. Both Moderna and Pfizer vaccine trials show promising results, but officials warn the vaccine won't be ready in time to get us through the winter, when infections are expected to spread quickly. CNN's Erica Hill with more.
Amidst grim new records nationwide, a bright spot. Moderna's coronavirus vaccine more than 94% effective, according to early results.
So now we have two vaccines that are really quite effective. So I think this is a really strong step forward to where we want to be.
The Moderna vaccine is also easier to store. It doesn't require the drastic cold temperatures needed for Pfizer's vaccine, which could make distribution easier when it's widely available sometime next year. The numbers point to tough weeks and months ahead. 1 million new cases added in just 6 days. The national average, nearly 150,000 a day. With no national plan, 2 former FDA commissioners are urging states to work together. Writing in the Wall Street Journal, coordinated state and local leadership can make it more manageable. States that don't act quickly put the entire nation at risk. The single greatest failure in the U.S. response to this pandemic, a failure to effectively communicate. That's the blunt assessment from the former director of the CDC, Dr. Tom Frieden. In New York, I'm Erica Hill, CNN.
Being a new vaccine, scientists are still studying its side effects. We spoke with SBU biology professor Dr. Xiaoning Zhang this week to discuss how the FDA is looking at these potential effects for the vaccine's approval.
If there is any adverse effect, to which degree is it? Is it fever? Or is it some kind of neurodegenerative, effect, or death, right? So without those information, it's hard to tell, and that's what FDA is requiring Pfizer and Moderna to provide right now.
You might have seen these posters around campus recently. The American Marketing Association at St. Bonaventure is holding a Thanksgiving food drive. All food donated will go to the Warming House Soup Kitchen in Olean, which serves over 10,000 local residents a year. Columbia University found the U.S. poverty rate has risen nearly 2% since the beginning of the pandemic. According to Data USA, Olean's poverty rate is almost 9% higher than the state average already. Senior Sean O'Grady, co-president of the AMA, spoke with us yesterday about why it is so important for the university to give back to the community, especially right now.
People have been losing their job. There's less money going around where people can afford things, and no one should be going to bed hungry. And you know what? That's one of the great things about the warming house, and I think that's why Bonaventure students and the faculty and the staff, everyone that has graduated from Bonaventure, just truly cares about everyone else, and it's really amazing and humbling.
Amid this pandemic, local small businesses are dealing with difficult circumstances. SBU-TV's Ryan Boland tells us how the Sports Locker is navigating their way.
The coronavirus has affected small businesses all across the country. As small businesses navigate through this unprecedented time, we take a look at how Sports Locker, a sports apparel store here in Olean, maneuvered their way through the pandemic.
It literally out of nowhere. That's how it hit. We were able to adjust, and what initially was a huge fall in sales I got to then go in an outbound sales mode strictly with a phone as my medium, and I could set up everything digitally.
With less people coming into the store, Sean and his team transitioned their focus to help the community.
Inevitably, what we decided was to switch our production over to strictly mass production. We realized that there was a huge void that needed to be filled, and locally there's plenty of school districts and small businesses that needed access to mass. We just also were able to customize them for them.
Sports Locker manufactured thousands of masks throughout the pandemic, but with overall sales taking a hit, they put on a store-wide sale to increase foot traffic and make room for the New Year's product.
It went very well. I think the big thing was we tied it in with a marketing campaign that was strictly geared towards shopping local. I think no matter where you go, there's always a huge urge, and maybe it's relatively new, but there's an urge to shop local.
With talks of a second shutdown circulating around the country, Sports Locker is ready and prepared for whatever may come.
Of course, we want things to go back to normal as soon as possible. It's so much of who we are as a culture. We love being involved in all these events. It more or less just hurts us, I guess, emotionally. But yeah, the bottom line, for sure, I think just where we're going with the business, we'll be able to adapt to a more indirect B2B shopping.
Reporting for SBU-TV, I'm Ryan Boland.
Sports Locker is slowly improving their online shopping presence and urge the community to shop locally for the holidays.
I'm serious. There's not a night that goes by when I say my prayers, I don't think about the place. You know, how lucky we were.
A year after a devastating house explosion, we catch up with the homeowners to learn what their past year had in store for them and where they are now. Also, a senior with a unique hobby. Stick with us, SBU-TV will be right back.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine. And I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart, that there's room for me and mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, you know, it's gonna be cool. She's my superhero. Good job, kitty cat. When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
Do it for your roommates. Do it for your teachers. Do it for your crush. When it comes to wearing a mask, staying 6 feet apart, and avoiding large gatherings, do it for everyone in your life. Together, we can keep COVID-19 out of school.
Thank you for sticking with us this morning. A year ago, the Voles family's world turned upside down when their home exploded. Both Betty and Ronald Voles were not home during the explosion. Betty at work and Ron deer hunting when they were informed their house rose 2 feet from the ground and exploded. The only member home at the time, the family dog Remy, who luckily made it out with only some singed whiskers. This week, I caught up with the Voles family to learn how they've mourned the loss of their home and what the past year has been like.
First of all, we can't believe it's been a year. It just has flown by. But I don't even know how to explain it. We just rolled from this one life into another one.
For 36 years, 8 months, and 10 days, the Voles family lived in their West Branch home. Days after the explosion, Betty, Ronald, and Hemi moved into their current residence in the village of Allegheny. However, for the entire Voles family, a heavy heart remains for all that was lost that day.
She'll never go home again. You know, we'll always have a new home, and they always have a place to come, but she's never coming home again.
I'm standing here in what would have been the Voles' home exactly 1 year later from the explosion. I spoke with Betty and Ronald, who explained to me there's currently an active investigation going on in what caused the explosion. They explained to me what they hope to get out of this investigation.
And if we don't do nothing and it happens again and somebody gets killed, I'm going to feel like I'm at fault for not pushing the issue.
The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation currently investigating the oil wells around the Voles property. Ronald informed me these investigations could take up to 3 years.
I'm serious, there's not a night that goes by when I say my prayers, I don't think about the place. You know, how lucky we were, first of all, and, you know, just find what happened, and maybe we can save a life.
Throughout the past year, the Voles said they remain blessed and grateful for all that they have and that no one was hurt that day.
The biggest takeaway for me, and I know it sounds cliche, but God provides. If I had to sum it up, God provides.
For SBU-TV, I'm Michaela Hyman.
Before you head out grocery shopping for the upcoming holidays, certain items may be limited. According to Tops, the following items limited to 1 per customer: multi-packs of toilet paper and paper towels, household cleaners, disinfectant sprays, and wipes. Tops limits the following items to 2 per customer: baby wipes, oatmeal, peanut butter, sugar, liquid hand soap, and paper napkins. Tops attributes these purchase limitations to high demands and manufacturing supply shortages.
What's that object flying around campus? Have you seen it? SBU-TV's Rachel Kimmel talks with a senior who spends his time building drones.
Jason Green is fascinated with drones, and for the last 5 years, he's been working towards building the perfect one.
I think we built like 3 versions before we got one that worked properly.
Green is a senior computer science and cybersecurity major at St. Bonaventure University. The first drone he built took roughly 6 months. He's trimmed that down to only a few hours.
This right here is like my 9th version, full iteration of a racing drone. And there's a bunch of little intricacies on here that I've done to make it more durable and fly better. And
while not in class, he's found a niche in racing drones.
I have not raced this one. Yeah, so you kind of just fly it to fly it.
Green controls his drone from a remote, and the goggles you see on his face,
this is where all the magic happens,
allow him to see from the drone's perspective.
It's a real out-of-body experience. Like, you see just somebody in a field and it's like, you just don't feel like you're that person.
Competitive racing drones can accelerate from 0 to 130 miles per hour in less than 2 seconds.
I can get this 0 to 80 in, say, under a second.
Even though he doesn't compete in races, you can still spot him flying his drone around campus.
Anytime it's a good day to go outside.
Before we head to break, take a peek at your screen for our social medias. Just because we are going home for winter break doesn't mean we don't have you covered. Follow up for updates from the university and the local community. SBU-TV will be right back.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me.
As a son,
as a man with a never-quit attitude.
As a fighter for change.
Join me in wearing a face cover.
To help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and...
I am totally a hat person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
The census is when we count every person in each home in every neighborhood.
Do kids count?
We all count, especially kids and babies. Make
your family count!
Count all the kids living in your home. Visit 2020census.gov.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And more manageable for both our customers and our associates. The easiest way to secure your safety and the deals you are looking for this Black Friday is by shopping remotely. Online shopping deals have already begun, with many retailers starting their discounts early to keep customers shopping online. GameStop is currently promoting their 3 days of online deals that ends on Saturday, November 21st. Home Depot and Walmart also began promoting online discounts with store-wide deals on their websites. All stores are providing information about the best Black Friday discounts on their websites. Keep your eyes awake and wallets ready on your couch this Black Friday, because deals will be coming and going. Reporting for SBU-TV, I'm Sean Maines.
In case you miss out on the online Black Friday deals, Cyber Monday will be approaching quickly after on Monday, November 30th.
Even with the pause on activities for the Bonnie's men's basketball team, the season is far from over. After the break, Grace Foley will be live in studio to tell you what's next for the brown and white. And we take a deeper look into the Bonnie's roster with a season preview. Don't go anywhere, there's more SBU-TV to come in just a moment.
The census, a special time when we count every person in each home in every neighborhood.
Do kids count?
Of course. Counting everyone in your home helps support your neighborhood by funding things like schools, hospitals, and buses. Complete the census by calling or going online, or return your form by mail.
It's easy, secure, and most important, it's totally private.
Make your family count!
This year, make sure every child counts. Visit 2020census.gov.
What's the best way to pick the right college? Use your head and make a practical choice based on cost and academics? Or follow your heart to a place that just feels right? At St. Bonaventure, you can do both. Here, you'll join a unique community that celebrates individuality, meet professors as passionate about people as they are about learning, and form lifelong connections without a lifetime of debt. Come see for yourself why St. Bonaventure isn't just a special place, it's a smart choice.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
As promised, an update surrounding the SBU men's lacrosse team's Lack Stash Madness fundraiser. The team currently exceeds their $20,000 goal and remains #1 out of all the teams participating throughout the country. Throughout the week, members show off their stash progress. The Headstrong Foundation has raised almost $390,000 for families affected by cancer.
Now we take it to Grace Foley live in studio with sports.
Thank
Thanks, Tommy. Despite the unfortunate news about the men's basketball team, there's no need to hit the panic button on the season just yet. Only 3 games were eliminated with the cancellation of their trip to Bubbleville. And now the Bonnies have plenty of time to rest up and prepare for their next game on the schedule, which is a road trip to Cleveland Cavaliers' home arena to take on Akron on December 15th. And in anticipation of their opening day game, whenever that may be, let's get you up to speed on the team and who will be stepping out on the floor for head coach Mark Schmidt that first game.
It's an unorthodox lineup for the Bonnies, to say the least. Not a single senior on their roster, but with junior preseason all-conference selections Kyle Lofton and Oshun Oshunnihi leading the charge in 2021, the Bonnies are anything but short on veteran presence.
We have juniors, but in essence, they're like 50-year seniors. You know, Kyle's, in the last 2 years, probably played the most minutes of any player in the country. You know, Shun started as a freshman, Damas started as a freshman. You know, we might be young, we may not have any seniors, but in terms of minutes, we have veteran guys.
This is also one of Mark Schmidt's deepest teams in recent memory. The Bonnies are returning 6 players who started at least 7 games a year ago, along with the addition of 3 transfers, Anthony Roberts out of Kent State, and JUCO transfers Eddie Creel and Jalen Shaw. 3 players whose impact in practice alone is already making an impression on Kyle Lofton.
I think bringing these guys in is going to help us, and it's just showing in practice like how guys are going at it, competing for spots, competing for minutes. We know that we have a deep roster, so guys are just pushing each other harder.
One player Bonnies fans have anxiously been waiting to see in action is Jalen Attaway. The redshirt junior guard set out last year because of NCAA transfer rules and has been taking reps with the first team in practice. He was also named as one of the 4 captains on the team, an honor Schmidt feels is well-deserved, despite Attaway not having played a minute of game action with the Bonnies.
Some guys, when they have that, quote, redshirt year, they take it off. But he took advantage of it. He's the first guy in the gym. He's the last guy to leave. He practices as hard as anybody. And I think our guys saw that commitment.
The Bonnies were picked 4th in preseason A10 polls, coming off a 19-12 season. But right now, the team is just focused on getting to that first game. And considering their trip to Bubbleville has already been canceled, these players aren't taking any chances they have to step out onto the court for granted.
As a team, we just know that how fast things can go away, how fast things clip up. Like, you know, college is not forever. You know, we can't play basketball forever. So there's a point in time where you have to appreciate it. So just with the whole pandemic, you learn to appreciate the game more.
We're not even through game 1 of the college basketball season, so it might seem a little crazy to bring up March Madness already. But after the year's cancellation of the tournament, which cost the NCAA $375 million, a plan is already in the works to ensure the tournament returns in 2021. The NCAA Division I Basketball Committee announced its intention for a single city to host the 68-team tournament. The committee, of course, trying to create a controlled bubble-like environment. Indianapolis has emerged as the frontrunner for the host city. Indy is already scheduled as the site for the Final Four, but nothing has been finalized yet. And a quick update on the Bills Mafia fundraiser for Oshai Children's Hospital we highlighted last week. After the Arizona Cardinals plucked a victory from the Buffalo Bills, the 2 fan bases came together to contribute even more to the fundraiser. Cardinals fans chipping in this past week, pushing the current total of donation for the Children's Hospital to over $680,000. Only fitting that we celebrate the start of the college basketball season next week with a Bonnies Hoop question for this week's SBU-TV Sports Trivia. This one put our viewers to the test. Let's take a look. The Bonnies will be away from the Riley Center to kick off their season, which begs the question, when was the last time the St. Bonaventure men's basketball team played their first game of the season on the road? Brendan O'Connor from Chanhassen, Minnesota, making surprisingly quick work of the question. He submitted the first correct answer, which was November 12, 2010, when the Bonnies fell 0-1 to start the season after a trip to Little 3 rival Canisius. This may be our final live sports show of the year, but SBU-TV Sports is far from done. Stay up to date with all of our social media for more trivia, Bonnies basketball updates, and breaking news. Back to you, Michaela and Tommy.
And before we go, for all the Ellicottville skiers out there, Holiday Valley began making snow this week. You can see a bit of that snow-making process here. The resort is testing its snow-making process to make sure it's ready to go for when the colder temperatures come, and the resort can finish piling its slopes with snow. The resort hopes to open its slopes next Friday and will enforce all state COVID-19 guidelines.
One last time this semester, our social media accounts on your screens. Follow and engage with us as we bring you updates all year round. And again, this is our final show of the semester. It's been a pleasure bringing you SBU-TV this year, and we hope you'll tune right back in when we return in February.
We'll see you in February. I'm Michaela Hyman.